Hello everyone and welcome to episode 6 of the Workforce Excellence Show. Today I'm joined by Kelly Tucker and we'll be talking about employee engagement. So Kelly, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Kelly has 20 years experience in human resources and she's the managing director and owner of the company HR Star. So HR Star is a HR consultancy which partners with business leaders to take a proactive approach to HR, and it helps them develop highly engaged teams and enhance the employee experience and drive business success. So Kelly, could you tell us a bit more about what you do at HR Star?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So yes, as you said, I own and run HR Star. So I've worked in HR for about 20 years now, in various roles, various industries, and then just over 5 years ago, I set up HR Star. So we're a small HR consultancy, but we really like to take a proactive approach to HR. So we believe that engaged teams will drive business success, and that business leaders should be looking to really focus on their people, because without your people, you don't really have an organisation. And if your people are engaged, they're likely to be more productive, and therefore your business will be more successful. So that's really what we do at HR Star. We work with business leaders to create engaged teams, and there's a number of ways that we do that. So we take a partnership approach. So we are different to sort of a HR business that is just there for as and when a business needs them. So we like to really sort of partner with our clients, become part of their team. And then we work on different areas with them, from people strategy. So that will be looking at workforce planning, making sure you've got the right people in the right places, role design. So making sure that the roles that you have within your organisation fit with what your business is trying to achieve. Working with the leaders to ensure that the reason that they're in business, their purpose, their vision is actually filtered down through the organisation. So everyone within that business understands what role they have for to help the organisation achieve its business goals. Reward and recognition is really key to that. So, understanding once they are contributing to the business and they are adding value, what do they get back? How are we rewarding and recognising our employees who are adding that value? That obviously leads to greater retention rates. Learning and development is key, obviously. So we have a HR Star, an L&D specialist that will design and implement bespoke training, development, coaching, etc. for the clients that we work with. And workplace and well-being. So I think that's something that we've seen obviously at the forefront in the last few months. So how are we creating the right workplaces? How are we making sure that our employees are well and able to show up and give their best at work? So that's the approach that we take, and it's like I say, a project-based approach that we work with. And we also have our HR Star membership. So for those organisations who need that day-to-day HR support, they can become a HR Star member and they get access via our website to a whole host of resource videos, question and answer sessions with myself, access to the team, so that that covers off the day-to-day alongside the HR projects that we work on as well.
So it's been said that the employee experience should begin as soon as the candidate decides to submit that job application. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I really do think it is. And I think even though we're obviously seeing, unemployment rising at the moment, candidates will and are very choosy about who they want to work for, and they will be doing, as I said, research beforehand, looking at what kind of organisation are you? Is it clear from your website what your values are? And they will be looking to align with that. They'll want to know, what as an employee can I expect if I come and work for this organisation? So it really does start before somebody joins you, creating that experience. And as I said, it's also about then the process, the recruitment process. If you're submitting an application, there's nothing worse than not hearing back from that organisation about whether you were successful or not, and if not, why not. So something that we do at HR Star, we actually have a function within HR Star called Star Search. So that's where we look to source talent for our clients. So it's kind of evolved. It's a form of recruitment, but for us it's very different to how a recruitment agency operate, because if our client is looking for somebody to join their teams, because we work closely with them creating the right structures, etc., then we're obviously well aware of what will fit within that. So we go out and source that talent. And I've had where we find great candidates, but they, you know, they won't make that leap from where they are now in a current role because that, you know, they don't believe that they align to the values of that organization, or that organization is not offering what they you know, what they're looking for. But also I think, like I said, you know, that whole process of recruiting, you know, how are you conducting the recruitment process, how are you communicating throughout that? So, you know, for me it's about building up that really good reputation, you know, in public sites like Glassdoor, on LinkedIn, through your website as well, communicating throughout the process to your candidates, providing feedback, and then starting that onboarding process before day one, before they're actually, you know, at that, you know, at their desk ready to work on day one. And for me, I've seen many a times where people find the perfect candidate and they don't follow up in a timely manner, and then they lose them, or they join the organisation, they don't engage, you know, quickly enough, they're not having a positive experience from day one or before, and then again they decide it's not for them and they move on. I think what we see as well more recently is people are more and more willing to change jobs on a regular basis. It used to be something we look at CV, and if someone is like job hopped, as we call it, it was kind of seen as a negative. But now no, because people are just looking to match their, you know, what they need, what they want with the role that they go to, and people will move roles a lot more freely than they used to. So that, you know, positive experience needs to start beforehand, and it definitely needs to start from day one that the employee joins you.
So a lot of the organizations that we work with would have largely deskless workforces or remote workforces. So how could organizations with workforces like this that are deskless and distributed, how could they ensure that the employee experience still reaches all of their employees no matter where they're working from?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, you know, we're seeing that a lot, especially with everyone sort of moving to home working and now slowly looking to return to the workplace. I think obviously online meetings are key, but communication, and overly communicate. You know, remember that these people aren't in the office, so they're not going to just be picking up on, you know, water cooler conversations or just what's happening day to day. So for me, with my team, we've been working remotely throughout the last 4 months. So we have a Zoom meeting every day where we just run through what we've achieved that day, what we've got on for the next day. So we're always up to date with what each other are working on. But also within that, it's important, I think, to involve a bit of social conversation like you would if you were in the office. So we'll quite often talk about what we're watching on TV, what we're eating for dinner that night, etc. So overly communicate, I think, utilise online meetings because obviously that face-to-face element is really important. Just ensure that, you know, your remote team are receiving the same opportunities as those who are in the office or would normally be in the office. So access to training, if you are sort of doing like team drinks, etc., ensure you include them along. And I think as we start being able to, you know, go out and do more, then if you have a remote team, maybe looking to have, you know, an on-site or go somewhere where you can have a face-to-face, maybe monthly. So there's still lots you can do it. And we also use sort of other platforms within our organisation, HR Star, with our clients. So Slack's like obviously a great way to keep, you know, communication going. It doesn't like clog up your inbox. And, you know, pulse surveys are really good, like using a platform you can send out surveys to your teams to get some feedback. And then I think if you're asking for feedback, it's really important then to obviously act on that feedback that you receive. So, you know, if you're asking, you know, how are you feeling, guys, or is there anything we can improve on, or what do you need from us, then when you receive that feedback, making sure you address it as well. So that communication needs to be both ways.
And so what are some of the organizational benefits then of having a really positive employee experience?
Loads, and this is the message that I really try and get out through HR Star when we're talking to business leaders. You know, good employee experience, you know, great engagement will benefit your organisation so much. And having now worked in this space for a few years, I've seen it. You know, I've gone out to organisations, I've implemented some of the things we've talked about, and it really does work. So employee satisfaction, you know, it's key. You want productive, engaged, motivated, happy employees. You know, as a business leader, why wouldn't you want that? You know, by having that in your workplace, you're going to have less performance issues. You're going to have to be dealing with lower absence levels, which is great. You will have less staff turnover, which is obviously great because, you know, high staff turnover is very expensive, and you know, the time that goes into that as well is massive. So that employee satisfaction is, you know, is key. It's like you want happy customers, but you also want happy employees. They're brand ambassadors, like I said before. They'll go out and spread the word about what a great organisation it is to work for, which then makes attracting talent even easier again. Increased productivity. Obviously, businesses want to be productive, and I think now more than ever, businesses who are looking to recover from the impacts of COVID are looking for increased productivity. Having, you know, a positive experience, having engaged employees will definitely lead to more productive organisations. You know, your employees, if they're happy and engaged and having a good experience, they're going to go above and beyond. They're going to put in those extra hours to get the job done, which will obviously lead to increased productivity. Lower staff turnover, people are less likely to leave if they are really, you know, engaged and having a great experience where they work. You know, whilst we do see that people are more willing to move around now within in roles, if they are really happy and getting everything they need from that role, then they're very unlikely to look to leave. And obviously, if you can retain your employees, you retain that knowledge, that skill, that experience that they have. You know, when you bring on somebody and you will have to replace somebody, it takes time for that skill and knowledge obviously to be built up. So lower turnover is great. Obviously, bringing new people into the organisation does take a lot of time and it's costly. Lower absence, you know, we look when we work with our employees to reduce absence, because obviously when people are off on a regular basis, or you have high absence levels, that impacts on the business, impacts on productivity, impacts on the people who are in the office having to pick up the slack for, you know, their colleagues who aren't there. And we are seeing now more and more the reasons why people are off sick is like very much due to mental health, you know, stress, etc. So that's why, you know, that's very closely linked to a positive experience. When I talked about at the beginning of this, having, you know, good work-life balance, we need to ensuring that our employees are not getting stressed, that they do have, you know, the ability to switch off, that they are taking their holiday, that, you know, they don't feel overloaded, etc. Because all of those things will very much lead to, you know, a negative experience and high absence levels, which again is very costly for an organisation. Increased loyalty from their employees, and, you know, loyal employees are again great advocates for your business, and they will be looking to go above and beyond for you, which is, you know, fantastic. And increased customer satisfaction. I think, you know, if you're in a customer facing role, customers will really feel that if that employee is, you know, happy and engaged and having a great time at their place of work, and that will really, you know, come across, and that again links with productivity and business success, because if you are providing a great customer service, you're more likely to obviously then increase productivity and increase you know, how great, you know, and how well the business does. So they're all really linked together. And, you know, for me, that investing in your people and creating a positive experience and ensuring you have an engaged team is the number one driver for business success. And obviously, as I've just run through, there's so many benefits of you know, in making that investment in your people.
So what could some of the negative impacts be then of overlooking these kind of aspects or factors that make up a positive experience?
Yeah, so I think obviously kind of the opposites of those, suppose, the things I've just talked about: high staff turnover, people leaving and leaving roles, you know, within, you know, a few months of them being there. It's very disruptive, it's very costly, it's timely. Also, you have to think about the internal message that sends. You know, if lots of people are leaving, the people who are left behind are start thinking, why are all these people leaving? Should I be leaving? Do they know something I don't know? So, you know, it doesn't look great internally. Externally, if you're client customer facing and clients are having to deal with, you know, a churn of staff, they will probably feel unsettled by that, or think, you know, is there something that I should be worrying about with this organisation? Why do I keep having to deal with a different person? Why are people leaving? So again, that, you know, that customer satisfaction, that, you know, the brand image is really important. I think some of the other negative impacts of not looking to provide a good experience will be then lack of development. When people don't focus on developing their employees, people want to gain new skills and experience, and if they don't, that will sort of have a negative impact. But also it'll impact negatively for the business, because then if your teams aren't learning new skills, new experiences, new knowledge, they're not going to be contributing that to the organization. And I think those businesses who are driving forward and being successful are those who are always looking to adapt and take on board new skills, learning and knowledge, etc. And those businesses, I think, that don't invest in their management, will see that that it's hard then to have a real positive employee experience. Because when we think about organization structure, we think at leaders, the people at the top setting the strategy, providing the vision, and your employees, and then in the middle the management, it's quite often the management that get overlooked. People are quite often, I think, promoted into a management role because they're really good at their job, but then they're not necessarily given the tools and skills to be able to manage people. And it isn't easy managing people. And I think if that doesn't happen, the people who are being managed feel neglected, or they don't feel that they are being recognized, or all of the things that we've talked about earlier. And that's a management role to ensure that stuff's happening, but also they are the link, I suppose, between the people and the leadership, passing that information up and down. So by not investing in your management, that will really greatly impact on the experience that not just your managers but also your employees are having as well.
Okay, so what are some of the greatest challenges that you've come across when helping different organizations kind of make these changes in the name of the employee experience?
I think initially it's seeing the importance of it. I think, HR personnel, as it used to be called, is or has been seen in the past as something, hire and fire, that you go, HR want to see you, so, oh God. But and for me, it's trying to change that perception, especially the way that we work at HR Star. Like I said before, we want to take a proactive approach to people management. We want to enhance the employee experience. We want to enhance the people management experience so that it's win-win on both sides, that organizations have, a committed, engaged, happy workforce that are really productive, that aren't, causing concern through poor performance, who aren't taking a lot of time off sick, who aren't leaving the organization after short periods of time. And also for the employees, that they are going and showing up to work and being able to show up and give their best every day because their employer is investing in them, is providing them with the opportunity and the tools and resource to do that. But it's trying to get that message across and trying to sort of educate, I suppose, business leaders that it's really important and it will lead to success for your organization. Your employees are really important and that investment is key. And I think, when I've talked to some business leaders in the past, it's seen as like fluffy, like doing this stuff is a little bit fluffy, but it's business essential. And I think that's the number one challenge that I've had, is educating and getting people to understand the benefits of it. I am seeing that's turning slightly now, and I think recent situation has really highlighted the importance of people in organisations and how people show up and how people, deal with times, challenging times, etc. So leadership buy-in, I would say, is sort of number one. Another challenge I've faced is when I go into an organisation and you start the process and people want it to change overnight. Now, I'm good at employee engagement and creating a good experience, but I can't do it overnight, and these things take time. So for us, our number one starting point would be going speak to the leadership team. We then go and speak to all the people within that organisation, and for me, it's really important doing that. One, to start building that relationship between myself and the people within the organisation of my clients, because we want to build trust. We want them to understand why we're there and that we're there to help them and help, the organisation, that they can speak to us in confidence if they need to. So number one is going out and speaking to other people. And obviously once you get that feedback, then it's about sort of looking, reviewing the feedback, and then going back to the leadership team and saying, okay, based on the feedback, these are the areas that I believe that we need to focus on. And I think sometimes that can be a bigger task than the leadership team are anticipating, just from what you uncover from one-to-ones. And then it's going about putting a plan in place to obviously start addressing these things. But I'm sure, you can imagine lots of things that I've talked about today, by implementing learning and development plans, by putting a people strategy in place. These things do take time. We can start getting impacting very quickly, but the whole thing will not be done overnight. And I think that's another important thing that we educate our clients, that creating a positive employee experience and employee engagement is never done. Like, the more you put in, the more you'll get out, but it's something that's continual. It's something that you have to work on to maintain and develop. And that's why, like I said, we work in partnership, and it's an ongoing relationship that we work with our clients. And I think then, obviously, change, we will go into an organisation and we are looking to make changes to improve experience, engagement levels, etc. And it's also the underpinning the projects that we're working on is managing change, and we will, depending on the organisation, depending on the projects that we're putting in place, we will sometimes see resistance to change from certain people. So as well as looking to implement the project, we're also then looking to manage the change process as well, and that can be quite challenging in some organisations.
So you've kind of mentioned before that continuous learning and development plays a huge role in engaging employees, and it gives them a sense of empowerment in their roles, and that in turn kind of helps create that positive employee experience. Sorry. So do you think that technology is changing the way that we go about learning and development?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I just think about my own personal learning and development, and that of my team, and that what I see within clients, I think technology has really opened up how people can learn and develop, and their access to tools to do that. So we have taken a number of the training programs that we run for our clients online during the last few months. I think obviously we have seen a massive increase in webinars and people attending webinars as a source of learning and development. But also I think more and more people do a lot of self-study, and they do that through using technology, from obviously reading books or audio books, or like listening to podcasts. I mean, the amount of people now that I know that listen to podcasts is massive, and that's a great source of being able to learn new skills, etc. So I do think technology's really opened up people's ability to learn new skills, to gain new knowledge. In the past, I think people associated learning with classroom style learning, being sent on a course, and that still happens, and there's still there is still a place there, and that's still really important. And I think one thing that I try and sort of speak to clients about is, like, technology will enhance how we work with our people and how we train our people, but there is still a place for face-to-face. There is still a place for getting people together and doing group learning, knowledge sharing, etc. I just think that technology has definitely made it easier to self-study, to access, like I say, a massive range of resource. It's something we do at HR Star, is I encourage the team to do continual development. So they will choose stuff that they think will enhance their own skills, something that they're interested in, something that they can then use within the workplace, and they'll go and do podcasts or online courses or webinars, etc. And then we keep a log of sort of what we're learning, what we're developing. And it's one thing that I'm keen to continue doing within HR Star is that I think sometimes we can get so busy with our day-to-day that you forget about the benefits of actually taking that time off, time out to develop yourself. And I know that I've definitely read more books, I've done more webinars during this time, and then for me, I could be more creative. I have new knowledge that I can share with my team, with my clients, that I can weave into the projects or the work that we're doing. So I do think technology has definitely opened up many doors for people, and to see the benefits of continuing with that online learning approach continuously. So it's something that again, we're really keen to do internally at HSR, but also with our clients as well.
So another thing that's changed dramatically due to technology advancing would be internal communications. So gone are the days of the employee notice board, or the monthly or weekly kind of company newsletter that gets sent out to all employees. Like, employees now, they want to be kept in the loop, and they want real-time news and information, pretty much. So do you think that change has made an impact on the employee experience as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, people, within organizations, they want real time, updates. They want to
Yeah.
understand what's happening. They want to be involved. And, an easy way, I think, to spread message is by the use of technology and, in various forms. Obviously, there's email, but there is also sort of more like we use software with our clients that holds employee information, so they can at any point access previous one-to-one notes, a copy of their job description, a copy of their contract, but also within that there's a facility to send out company-wide messages. Again, I touched on it, we use Slack with our clients internally, and it's an easy way to have in the moment conversation. So I definitely feel that for me, communication is like number one in pretty much everything that we do and we do with our clients. And being able to communicate easily by using technology is a massive positive for the employee experience, and in keeping employees engaged as well. We do online surveys, so again, I can remember years ago when I used to work in HR, if we did the employee engagement survey once a year, it's like getting people in a room or sending them out a paper copy of it, having to fill it out, bring it back, analyze the results, where all of that has totally changed now. You can send out surveys online. The platforms will, collate the results for you. You can do it so they're anonymous. And I think people, are more willing to do those things when they can just, like, they're already at their computer, rise in their inbox, answer a few questions. And something we do a lot of is pulse survey, so we're just asking like 1 or 2 questions, and we're getting that in the moment feedback, and that's definitely been enabled through technology, and that's really key for us to be able to engage experience and also engagement levels within organizations. So I think that technology has been a massive contributor to that.
So another thing as well that we're seeing technology doing is it's breaking down the kind of the just say invisible barrier between management and employees, and it is kind of helping management. It makes it easier for them to recognize their employees for like a job well done and the work that they're doing. So do you agree with that? Or what are the kind of benefits to recognizing employees this way?
Yeah, sure. So, for me, when we do surveys, etc., with our clients, we will go out and ask them what their motivators are. And quite often leaders will assume it's money, and it's not. Obviously people want to get paid for the job that they do, and money is a hygiene factor. So for us, recognition is the number one motivator. People want to be thanked. People want to know that if they are going above and beyond, that's being recognized, and they want to be rewarded for the value that they are adding. And recognition and reward is one of the projects that we have within our engagement profile at HR Star. It's key because you can start by sort of aligning people to your values. You can manage performance against them, and you can ask people to contribute to the bigger picture. And people can understand how they can do that, and they can understand how they have to show up and what their job role is. But if you then don't recognize and reward people who are doing those things, that experience and engagement level will drop, because people, if they're turning up and they're doing everything they need to do, but then they're not recognized and thanked for it, they're like, why am I doing this? So recognition and reward is key, and for us, it's about rewarding people who are adding that value, who are meeting expectation, who are going above and beyond. But also I think it's about being transparent with that. We always encourage our clients to have, and we work with them on this, like recognition reward structures in place, so people understand if they do X, they will get X. And if they they go out and they do their continual professional development, or continue to add skills and knowledge, etc., then what is the recognition for that? Is it additional benefits? Is it promotion, etc.? So linking reward and recognition to the other factors I've talked about today, so strategy, people strategy, learning and development, etc., is really key. And I think sharing success as well. People like to feel good, and if people have done a great job, share that with everybody else. Like, celebrate success. I think so often people are just, yeah, great, tick the box, that's done, let's move on to the next. And and I know I'm terrible for doing that. You've got to stop sometimes to say, wow, like, look what we've done, like, this is amazing, like, let's all like take a moment and celebrate that, and do nice things. Like, people like a little perk. So if we've done a good job, on a project within HR Star, and we encourage it with our clients as well. If you've achieved something that you've set out to do, or you've hit a target, celebrate that. Send cakes out to the team, or take them out when you can, to celebrate over lunch, etc. So I think those things are really important as well, and something that I do internally. I know some of my clients do it when we're doing an annual review with a member of the team. Like, we take them out to lunch, and we do it over lunch, so we create it as a nice experience for them. So saying thank you, sharing success, rewarding and recognizing is so key, and will massively contribute to your employees having a positive experience at work.
Perfect. Okay, Kelly, that kind of brings me now to my very last question. So this is a question that we kind of ask everyone on these podcasts, and usually when I ask the questions, I always ask them from kind of the organizational point of view. So what are the benefits towards the organization and things like this. So I'm going to turn it around now, and I'm going to ask you, what are the benefits to the employee? Like, what's in it for the employee?
I think, so much in it for the employee. I mean, we spend a lot of time at work. And for me, and one of the drivers, one of the reasons why I think I started focusing on engagement was because we spend so much time at work. And I, in the past years ago, had jobs where, you have that Sunday night dread, like you absolutely hate going into work every day. You live for the weekend. And, I don't feel that anyone should have to feel that. And, on the other side of that, as an employer, you don't want people showing up to work and feeling that way. So the benefits, I think, for the employee are massive. Having a role where you feel that you are recognised. I was speaking to a candidate just last week who was looking to change roles, and I asked what were the reasons. And she said, I want to feel like a person, not a number. I want somebody to recognise me for me and the contribution I add. So I think for an employee, being able to show up to work and be recognised, being able to understand how your role contributes to something bigger, knowing that, if you meet expectation, you're going to be rewarded and thanked for that. And also being able to know that you have a good work-life balance, that you can switch off and go on holiday and not have to worry about checking emails, that somebody will be there to ensure that you are continually developing. Someone's there to communicate with you. Someone's there to answer any questions you have. And I think for an employee, if you have those things, you are going to give more. You're going to go above and beyond, because you're going to be really happy about being at work and going to work. You're also likely to have less time off sick, because you're not going to be getting stressed and burnt out, etc. So the benefits, I think, are massive, and likewise for the employer as well. So, I mean, I get so passionate about this stuff when I speak to clients, speak to people. It's just like, it's so important. Like, do this stuff. Like, it will be amazing. The results for both sides will be amazing, and we can help with that. I know sometimes we speak to clients, they're like, oh my God, it just seems like a headache. It seems massive. And it's like, but that's why we're here. Like, let us, we'll work with you, but we can run this for you. We can, guide you through it, and we can implement it. We're very keen on, where we can, and being on site, like with our clients, be able to have that presence. We're always there to help them, throughout the process. And we'll start with one project, and quite often we'll see other things that will then need addressing as well. And so, fortunately, we end up then working with our clients on a long-term basis. And like I said, that becomes a real journey with us and them, a partnership, and we become part of their organisation. And then we build trust with their people. So then their people will talk to us more and more. So we get, feedback from the team. So for me, I mean, I absolutely love it. I love it when we can have, that relationship with clients, and we can go in and make a difference. And I think that's, my purpose, like making a difference for the employees and therefore the organisation.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that today, Kelly. And if everyone enjoyed this talk between myself and Kelly today, she will also be talking at our virtual conference on the 23rd of September. So you can get your free ticket for that there now over on our website, which is nvolvegroup.com. Thank you again, Kelly. It was great to speak with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.